good evening to you and welcome to The Turning Point. The Turning Point has come to the hill country capital of Sri Lanka, Kandy, and it's also the last bastion of Sri Lankan stronghold before they succumbed to the invasion by the British. But be that as it may, Sri Lanka is a time for change, and after the so-called Arab Spring movement, the Aragale, 2 years and a bit of a recovery process, we thought we'd come and speak to the industry, the hotel industry, because Sri Lanka's tourism is one of the mainstays of its economy. And we met up with the president of the Kandy Hotels Association, Mr. RODNEY Armstrong. Thank you, Rodney, for being on Turning Point. What is the situation now in Sri Lanka, especially in terms of our leisure industry, hospitality industry?
Anyway, first and foremost, thank you for us for getting me on this show, the program you have. Yeah, I mean, really speaking, I mean, when this situation arose, I mean, the Aragale began, I mean, we had all given up hope, seeing how the country is going to bounce back, and we had even fear that the anarchy will set in. But, I mean, things turned around fast, and as you say, facts are stubborn. Things are really turned out around very fast, which we never expected. We thought it would take years for things to bounce back, to get back tourism, and for our industry to come back to normal, because we went through a severe difficulty from the time of the Easter bombing, the COVID, and it was very difficult for us. And we were already in debt when this Aragale started, and then with the tourists not coming into the country, we went into further debt. Of course, now we are in debt. I mean, most of the properties in the industry are on massive loans, which they are restructuring and I mean, keeping the properties going. So really, as you said, even last night you had seen a couple of hotel, I mean, full of tourists. But yes, the tourists are coming in. I mean, there is a lot of tourists coming in, but the only problem is again the rates, because costs have trebled or even more than that. So actually, with the rates we're getting at the moment, it's very difficult for us to, we are sustaining, but it will be very difficult for hotels to, especially hotels who stand alone, to maybe go in for like refurbishing, upgrading our properties. So really speaking, the tourism is coming, I mean, the occupancies are good, very good, I must say. I mean, it's excellent. You see a lot of tourists. I mean, all the, as you say, tourism goes to every route. I mean, from the person who sells a king coconut to a person who sells a bottle of honey, they all benefit. But we being the main, I mean, accommodation, is we are having a problem with the rates. So one appeal we are making is for us to get back the rates that we had before the Easter bombing.
Right.
So we are just asking from the travel agents a restructuring of the rates.
Right.
Because we are not asking for minimum rates, anything like that, just to get us back to those rates we had in 2019, which will help us to at least get out of the woods a bit.
So let me, if I may ask, is it the primary problem is the restructuring of the debt that hotels have had to endure, thanks to what happened mainly because of the COVID?
But it really started from the Easter bombing. It was all one.
Backed onto that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we had the COVID, then we had the Easter bombing, the COVID, and then this Aragale or whatever we see in the country, which, I mean, it just crippled our industry.
Right. So basically, the government gave you all moratoriums. How did that work?
That worked, but I mean, what I say, giving a moratorium is only a temporary measure.
Right.
So what I say is, we should be able to get in the I mean, the money for us to pay. So, but with these low rates, and I mean, of course, and I mean, energy has gone up. Okay, now the government has given us a discount on electricity.
Yeah.
But everything, if you, for example, for us, you take for example a kilo of chicken in 2019 was about 300-400 rupees a kilo, but now it's over 1,000 rupees. I would just say example. So I mean, everything has shot up, but our rates have come down.
Right. But now, is there an argument to say that you all get paid in dollars, and therefore, with the fluctuation of the exchange rate, that in rupee terms that you're earning as much rupees as you were before the Easter bombing?
Before the East bombing, yes.
Right.
I mean, even the dollar being lower than maybe it was lower, because we had very good rates. I mean, good rates you can't, I mean, our country, what we offer. I mean, you know the buffets we offer.
Yeah.
I mean, you have traveled Europe.
Yeah.
You have traveled all parts of the world.
This is unbeatable here.
In Sri Lanka, we go the extra mile for it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right, and our hospitality. And I mean, we always see to customers' satisfaction, I mean, as you know.
So what's the situation, back in your accounts department? Are they pulling their hands out to service your loans?
Actually, we have most of the hotels, as you know, they have spoken to the banks and they're restructured,
right,
and they're asking for time,
yeah,
and so we are hoping that some kind of relief will come in. So
is there any possibility that the banks are offering individual hotels on a case by case basis? Are they offering you haircuts on the principal? Or are they sort of extending the term and maybe adjusting the...
They're mostly extending the term.
Right.
So we are hoping that some kind of relief could come into us. For example, if even if a foreign bank would give us the hotel is, I think, was 600 billion or something in debt.
Right.
All hotels. So I presume that's the figure if I'm right. But if somebody can come in and give the industry a loan to all the hotels at a low interest for a period of about 10 years at about 3-4%, at least then we can get out of the woods and we can upgrade our properties, because
is that what happened, Rodney? I know you're a veteran hotelier, but without casting aspersions on your age, what about when we had the war in Sri Lanka? How did the government help hotels during that time?
At that time, for us, I mean, at the rates we're getting,
yeah,
and I mean, interest rates were also low,
right,
and of course, things were not so expensive. How we managed, yeah, because here we got crippled for 3 events,
right,
it was back to back,
yeah.
So we really, I mean, you know how many hotels closed during COVID.
Indeed.
But the hotel I worked, we went through the whole period.
Indeed.
Right. I mean, I know what the owners or proprietors did to. I mean, they kept every staff on board.
Yes, I remember that.
They kept every staff on board,
yeah,
and we were one of the hotels in our area that was open. So I mean, the hotels that were closed, also you must know in certain Karlamo hotels, some very old hotels are still trying to get out of the...
Indeed. And so the ideal scenario would be, would you like to see the government step in and come up with a package where you have a long-term loan at a stable, low interest rate so you can recover?
At the moment, that will be a big relief for the industry. Right. But again, we would request the travel agents, because to restructure our rates, at least to the rates that we got in 2019.
I mean, tourists probably don't really care who the president of this country is or who the prime minister or whatever. But political stability, isn't that essential for your industry?
Definitely.
Because of the policy stability, the stability of policy.
It's very important for us.
Right. And how would you say the last 2.5 years has been?
I mean, as I said, things are really turned around. I mean, to be honest, we never thought it would turn around like this.
Right.
At least we can at least sustain ourselves. I mean, like as I said earlier, at least we can keep things going, and we are also looking at, because we lost a lot of skilled staff,
yes,
from the industry. I mean, mainly because when I spoke to, because I go from a lot of motivational lectures and all to hotel school and other schools,
yeah,
they had the fear that this will not bounce back.
Right.
So I mean there are people who are managers, yeah, during the COVID time of departments who went and did jobs of a mason bus. I'm just giving an example.
Yes.
So a lot of people had that fear that Sri Lanka will never come out of this mess so fast,
yeah,
which we see now. I mean, we are normal now. I mean, anybody says that Sri Lanka is not normal, I mean, it's virtual.
I've seen some of the hotels here in Kandy. Okay, it was a poor weekend, but the hotels were full.
You're right.
And what does that do to your bottom line? Is it a big difference or not really?
To the bottom line, there's a difference for us to just sustain ourselves.
Right.
But
not to recover your investment.
And also the loans and
Right.
what we had taken to survive during those three phases of the bad period for tourism.
What do you see? Do you predict an increase in rates over a period for the next season?
Yeah, we are trying to, and I mean, it's always good to have a dialogue with the travel agents and explain to them, because what I say is not that I'm discriminating or finding fault with them, but running a hotel and running a travel agency, it's too vast to, I mean, the operations are totally different. I mean, to run a hotel, we have so many overheads, right? But to run travel agents,
some of these overheads are hidden overheads.
Hidden overheads, yeah.
You can't really see it.
Correct. Like even the staff, I mean the water they use, electricity, the uniforms, and we have to maintain those standards.
Indeed.
So I mean a travel agent, okay, fine, they have their overheads, but not as energy cost, right? So I mean the travel agents, it's much. I mean they don't have much. I don't think even 20% of the cost we bear to maintain these properties.
And things like paint and your plumbing maintenance.
Yeah, correct. And you know, for like any hotel, I mean, it's the way it's used, right? We need to refurbish it. We need to upgrade, and especially with the things taking, I mean, around the world, the things that are taking place, we have to upgrade ourselves. There are tourists who come who are demanding, who want certain things in the hotel, but we being like a more colonial style of hotel, I mean, so we are okay, but as we know that we have to upgrade ourselves, even from the mattress. I mean, we have to do it because so that's the area.
You got to keep up with the time.
Yeah, and also that's the area we cannot at the moment invest in refurbishing.
And Rodney, how much of your, let's take the kitchen, how much of your kitchen is now Sri Lankanized, in the sense, in terms of are you relying on imported fruit, or are you promoting Sri Lankan food?
We are going more towards Sri Lankan.
Yes.
You don't go to Scotland drink arak.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
You go to Scotland drink Scotch.
Yeah.
So likewise, what I say even in Sri Lanka, now the trend is coming where local spirits are being used.
Yes.
Right? For example, you would have seen at our breakfast, we have chickpeas instead of baked beans.
Right.
So we are trying our best to go at least 95% local products.
So you're innovating towards the local product.
Yes, because I mean a foreigner will come to experience the local food, the local liquor.
Right.
So even we are planning to have a bar that will be selling 100% local spirits.
Right.
It's happening all over in Sri Lanka now. Right. And now another thing that is that we are got a good this thing. There are certain big companies, I don't want to mention names, but who are starting supplying vegetables to us.
Right.
And the yield is almost 99.9%.
Oh, I see.
Right. So I think again, the middleman, the farmer will make the money.
Right.
Because always the middleman only makes the money.
And talking about the arrival of tourists, I mean, your hotel is in the hill country capital in Kandy. What about the transport links from Colombo, from the airport into Kandy and beyond? How about that?
Yeah, I mean that's another area that I think that the board or tourist board or whatever this thing try to get involved now. It's start planning now itself, because I think like for example the transport from airport to Kandy. I mean, of course, now with the highway through Kurnagal, it takes maximum 2.5 hours to 3 hours. But we should now itself start planning the type of transport. Now, when I would say in another 5-6 years time, online we'll have a lot of online bookings. And so when a guest comes to the airport, he should be into a vehicle that is fit to travel. Because sometimes, I mean, during the Middle East market,
that itself has its own challenges with the existing government. We're doing this in July 2024. There are restrictions on the importation of vehicles, for example.
but the government relaxed a bit.
They gave us
special
1,000 vehicles.
But again, for us, more than these restrictions, I think we should at least plan for these things. Like I said a while ago, that we should have, okay, the minister can be there, but someone should be there who knows the subject.
Oh, so a scientific method of appointing people who know the subject.
Yeah, because then it's in their blood. They know what has to be done,
Right.
and then that ministry will perform properly.
Right.
Because we have a lot. Not that I'm finding fault in, but again, I say we have people who are in the wrong slot.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't blame them either.
No, but that's politics. But I was on the train from Colombo Fort to Kandy. It appeared to be an excellent service. It was an all-booked train. Even the second class and the third class was pre-booked, which was essential because you didn't have people leaning off the doors and so on. Well, you did have some people, but that was for touristic purposes. But generally speaking, the train was pretty good. It was on time. It was reasonably clean. But that seemed to me to be a real plus point.
Well, as I said, things have changed, right? But only thing we have to regulate and bring in systems where they maintain standards. Because today's tourist is not the old tourist who walk behind the tour guide, waiting till he explains things and all that. They are adventurous.
Right.
They need experience.
Right.
I mean, there are people who have gone to the extent of, dying by trying to take selfies in locations in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
So this is the new tourist. So we have to change with this.
We have to keep up with the times.
That's very important.
Would you say that the turning point has arrived in Sri Lanka now? Now is the time for change, would you say?
Yes, definitely. It's a time for change, and we can see things changing. But as I say, there are a few more things that are regulated and maybe brought in, because Sri Lanka is sitting on a treasure. Right.
And what about this marketing of Sri Lanka as a destination? Destination marketing, they call it.
Yes, that's again for us now. What I say, even recently I spoke to certain top people in the tourist board, saying when they go on these market destinations, people all go from Colombo, right? But I remember about 5-6 years back, or a little longer, the Chinese market, the first roadshow they had in Beijing and Shanghai, they took we have regions, like we have Kandy Association, we have the Cultural Triangle, deep down south, Norally, we have all different associations, and the people from what they did was the last roadshow, they took 2 people from each region. So we know what we have to offer. So we went to put up our little stores, and we promoted our region, which I think was very effective. That was the first roadshow, and today's Chinese market is booming.
I see also that some of our veteran hoteliers have banded together and introduced a new route, if you like, in Galoya and so on. Those were not part of the tourist map before. Do you welcome such moves?
Definitely, because in the 80s, right, we had tours that used to do, including Jaffna, in 7 days. I mean, we have so many myths. Like what I say is, Sri Lanka, we have to start telling stories.
We need to tell a story.
Yeah, because anything. Now, for example, what I say is, we have singing fish in Batiklo. There is no singing fish.
Yeah.
But it's a myth. And then we have a place in, I think, Anrajpura called the Galing Bindunu Weber.
Yes.
So they say from a stone, a lake, it can be a small pond.
Yes.
But if we create a story, then, these are all marketing. For example, take Thailand, take the Coral Islands. Is there coral there? There's hardly any coral. But the stories they create, the people...
We have, I don't know if many people know, and as Michael Caine famously said, not a lot of people know that. And that is, did you know, Rodney, that in Sri Lanka we have swimming elephants?
Yeah, I've seen that in the Galoya.
Yes.
Not only Galoya, in the sea even.
And it is the only place in the world, and I stand to be corrected, but I believe it's the only place in the world that you can actually see truly wild elephants swimming. Whereas in the Andaman Islands you have the mahout swimming behind, and
It is natural.
It's not wild in the truest sense of the word. But in Sri Lanka it's wild, and it's you never see anything like it anywhere else.
These are the things we have to look into. And what I say, use the university students, ask them to do research. They'll definitely help us into all these areas. For example, in Kandy, 6 or 7 minutes away from Kandy, we have a forest that has leopard.
Right.
But then for example, take Udwatakale. Recently, I went with some people there to show Udwatakale, and they asked me, why don't we have a night safari? In buggies, because we are thinking of the environment.
Yeah.
But what I say for us, it's adventure again. Even if they don't see, even if they see a rabbit in the night, it's a part of the excitement. So these are things we have to develop. But we have to, very important that we preserve our nature and things like that in the country. That should be looked into very clearly. But we are not 100% making use of what we have to offer, which is very sad. Because I think in 1980. At that period, when I started my career, coming into the industry, we showcased the country very much more. The hot whales, there are so much things to show. The ponies in Delft, the donkeys in Mana. It's all history. So these are things we have to do. This is what other countries do.
Rodney, we say it's time for change. The change is perhaps right here. We're on the cusp of change. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that in 2 years' time, if I come back and interview you here, you'll be singing the praises of the change?
Definitely agree with you. If there's a change, in 2 years I'll be praising the change. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Rodney Armstrong from the Hotel Association in Kandy. Thank you.
Thank you for us.
And that's the way it was on Turning Point. Sri Lanka, time for a change. Let's see it happen.